Hello guys, welcome to today's video. What we have in front of us is DT94, a brand new fitness watch from a DT brand. Many people actually ask me questions about this watch and they said, what's the difference between this particular model and Call Me P8 Plus that I have reviewed a couple of weeks ago. We will be comparing both of those side by side, but that's going to be in a couple of weeks time. But today what we're going to do is we're going to unbox and we're going to actually take a closer look at the DT94. So without further ado, let's unbox this watch. So the box itself looks like that. Inside of the box, obviously, you'll find the watch itself. Of this time, I decided to go for a black color. You also will find a user manual. It comes in many different languages, including English, Italian, French, Russian, German, and Chinese. And you've got a very familiar magnetic charger with 2 pins, meaning that there is no data transfer. First of all, I'll throw some of the figures at you about this particular model. So the screen size is 1.78 inches across with a resolution of 320 pixels by 385. Inside you'll find a processor which is Realtek 8762CK. The heart rate sensor, it's not that often that manufacturer actually gives away information about any of the sensors, but this time they have. The heart sensor is called Silent Micro SR31, and it's actually a fairly good heart rate sensor, as I will demonstrate later on in the video. Also inside of the watch you'll find a battery which is 200 milliamp battery, which in a medium to light use will last for a good week. And if you're going to be using this watch a lot for phone calls, the chances are the battery will only last about 3 working days. And if you continuously gonna have a conversation, the watch will only last for 5 hours straight. If you're gonna have a phone call conversation for, let's say, 5 hours, then the battery will run out in 5 hours. The watch uses Bluetooth 4.0. The connection stays nice and strong, and information about the weather data and so on gets updated fairly quickly. And if you walk away from your phone and then you come back into the range, usually watch reconnects on its own without any issues whatsoever. The watch comes with an IP rating IP67, meaning that a light and minor sort of water splashing throughout the day will not damage the watch or its components on the inside. So things like washing dishes or perhaps maybe finding yourself underneath the rain should be just fine. The app that the watch uses to connect to your phone is called Wear Pro, and we will be taking a look at it later on as well. And watch has 5 watch faces inside, which I can demonstrate right now. And in the app itself you'll find further 30 plus watch faces, and I can gladly announce that the watch face library has been expanding for the past week, meaning that potentially there could be more watch faces coming to this particular model in the near future. The price tag for this watch is $24 on AliExpress with the free shipping to most of the countries in the world. Right, now let's talk about the outlook of the watch. So as many of you mentioned, this is a very familiar look, and you must have seen this on my channel before. So they look very much similar to the Call Me P8 Plus. Very similar design, except the screen itself is slightly larger. The bezels became thinner, so therefore when you actually look at the screen looks a bit more, I'd say, premium. Not to say that the Call Me P8 Plus doesn't look good, it does, but this is just a bit, in my opinion, this is a better positioning because this is right dead in the center. On the right side of the watch you've got the same physical button as you do on Call Me P8, except this button does not work for rotation, it only works for press. So when you press the button, that's when the action begins. So you can power your watch on and off with the button, and you can also return from sub-menus to your main menu using the button. On top of the body of the watch you've got a cutout for the microphone. You've got a second microphone on the left side as well. And if I flick watch to the rear, right at the top you'll see a metal mesh just there. That's where your speaker is hiding. You also got your heart rate sensor hidden underneath there, and you've got 2 metal plates for your ECG reading. The strap is very standard, it's just straightforward, no extra curve, nothing. This is a 20mm strap, so if you're not particularly happy with the quality of the strap that comes with the watch, which is actually very nice indeed, you can always go to AliExpress and you can always key in 20mm watch strap, and you'll find yourself all sorts of straps made from different materials, different colors, and all those sort of things. So what we'll do now is we'll take a look at the inside of the watch. So we'll go to the quick menu options. So what you can see there is the time, and you can see the date, and you can see the remaining battery charge. You can change the brightness of the screen. There are several settings. I found myself using it on maximum brightness settings, seems to be the most comfortable. You've got your weather information, very straightforward, very simple. You've got your do not disturb icon, so that turns off any incoming phone calls, any vibrations, and any sounds. You've got your settings. This is a very important point, and I'm gonna have to pause at that point. If you see that phone icon just there, what that means is each and every time you want your watch to be used for phone calls, you're gonna have to go manually and turn this option on. The reason why the manufacturers do that is so that the battery doesn't drain itself out immediately, because the watch is having to use a secondary Bluetooth module which is inside for the phone calls only, basically. So what you do is you press that and then you can make phone calls. So the procedure as follows. You open up your box with your watch when you're going to receive them. You're going to download the app, you're going to go into the app, you're going to find the watch, you're going to connect to the watch, which is all well and good. Then you're going to have to come to this menu, you're going to have to press the icon with the phone. Then you're going to have to go into your phone's Bluetooth settings, and right down the bottom where your phone is going to find new Bluetooth device. I can't remember what it's called, but you're gonna click on it and you're gonna connect the watch for the second time in the Bluetooth option, because you're gonna have to connect them separately. You'll find all the information in the user manual. So it's very crucial, it's very important, especially for those who write to me saying that I can't get my watch to make phone calls, or I don't receive phone calls to my watch, and all those things. This is why. So then if you scroll from right to left, its usual menu gives you all the quick access to your steps made, calories burned, and all those good things. You've got your heart rate measurement. The good news is the sensor, I've tested that already, would not take a measurement from the air, so for instance like that, or if you put it on not a live object. So for instance, if I put it on a table, it's not going to take any measurements. So it's a fairly good sensor. However, if I place it on my wrist, it should take no more than 10 seconds and we should see the reading. There we go. The reading is fairly accurate. Obviously, you have to wear the watch correctly. The correct way to wear that would be above the bone just there. So like that. That's where the most accurate reading will be taken. And then we'll scroll further. This is where you'll find the information about the sleep tracking. So the watch can track the sleep, and this is where you can find this information. If you scroll from left to right, you will get access to your messages. All you can do with it is just read and delete. You can't reply to messages. And then what we'll do next is we'll scroll from bottom to top, and that will give you access to your main menu. So obviously you can view your recent phone calls. You can also add your favorite contacts into the contact book from the app on the phone. You can view your messages. You can dial the phone number manually if you know it. Then you can go to pedometer. This is where I've showed you before. This is where you can see how many steps you've done and how many calories you've burned. And then you've got your sports mode. So things like walking, running, cycling, rope skipping, and badminton, basketball, and football. As you can see, there is no swimming exercise, meaning that this watch is not totally waterproof. So splash proof, but not waterproof. You've got your heart rate sensor measurement, you've got your ECG, you've got your blood pressure and oxygen level in your blood. You've got your music control, very simple, play, pause, and skip tracks. So you've got your sleep tracking, you've got your little timer. Unfortunately, you can only use timer when you can see it. So I can't exit it. So there's no option for me to start a timer and then exit the timer, sort of thing, if you know what I mean. So you have to be looking at the timer at all the times. You've got your weather, you can find your phone if you've lost it. There's also some information about the current situation outside. So for instance, it can show you what the current UV level is. It's very handy for those who are very UV sensitive. So for instance, you can have some skin disease and things like that. That could be useful. You've got your breathing exercise, very similar to what we've seen on Halo LS02. You've got this option, which is very weird because all that does, it just vibrates. So it's almost like a vibrator. Well, you tell me in the comments, why would you have a vibrator on your watch? And then you got your period tracking thing, and you've got your settings, which we will come to a bit later, and then you've got this rather interesting looking icon that looks like a little butterfly. So if you press that, what that does, it allows you to change the menu style. In this watch you've got 4 menu styles, so what we've seen just now is one of them. So if I scroll down, you see these little nice bubbles and the layout. So we go to settings for the menu styles, and I click number 1. And then if we go back to our menu, you can see it changed. Now it's a list style, so everything listed in this order. And then if we scroll and we choose style number 3, and we go back to our menu, now you can see a very familiar Apple Watch like style menu, which is usable. The animation is good. It's sort of on a par with HW22. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it looks all right to me. And then you go to final, which is style number 4. So if we scroll down, these reminded me a lot from the watch we reviewed before, which is Ace SG2 model, and now you got SG3 as well. So the way that works is you scroll it like an old school phone, and as soon as you find the icon that interests you, it has to land in this area here. You can then press it and then you can use it. So personally, I prefer style number 2. I think it's the best. What I've also noticed is something really cool, is each and every single time a row of icons disappears, the watch makes a very subtle vibration, which also adds to the quality experience of using this watch. Now that we've seen pretty much everything, what I'll do is I'll demonstrate you how the microphone sounds. So without further ado, let's have a listen to the microphones.
So this is how your voice can sound like when you're going to talk to someone through the watch. The thing that I forgot to mention is during the phone call, you have this ability to control the volume of the speaker, and the maximum volume is very comfortable. So if you find yourself in a very loud environment somewhere outside, you probably will be able to hear the person you're talking to quite clearly through the watch. So all in all, sounds like a microphone and the speaker on the watch is actually quite decent, but it's up to you to make a decision. So let's go back to the review.
Right, and now that you've heard how the microphone sounds, it's probably a good time for us to visit an app that this watch uses. So let's dive in, and then we're going to come back and we're going to summarize today's video. So now it's a good time for us to familiarize ourselves with an app which is called Wear Pro, so we'll jump into it. As we got accustomed to it, the first page usually shows you the most up-to-date information about how many steps you've done, how many calories you've burned, the tracking for your sleep for the previous night, and your blood pressure and blood oxygen, all those things. Then if you scroll into the second option, this is where you will see all the information about the sports activities that you have pre-recorded through your watch before. And then if we click into device, this is where you can see that the watch has been connected. So if we sync it now, it'll take a couple of seconds and the watch will be synchronized. And then first thing I want to do is I want to show you some of the watch faces that you will get with this watch. So as I've mentioned in my review so far, the watch faces have been updating recently. So what I'll do is, as I talk, I'll scroll slowly so you can take a closer look at watch faces that you should expect from this watch. Some of them do look very familiar because we've seen them on DT93, so the previous model. Some of them actually look like they come from Xiaomi watches, and some of them look very familiar because they are Apple Watch watch faces. So there are a fair few to choose from already, and like I said, they have been adding new watch faces recently, so therefore the library could potentially be expanded in the near future. Other options that you can see would be to find your watch, but I'm not really a huge fan of that because your watch will vibrate only once and it's really hard to find them anyway if you're gonna lose them. You can take a photo, you can turn the option for your screen to come on if you rotate your wrist, so that's quite handy. This is where you can turn on incoming calls and your text messages, so you have to turn it on manually, don't forget about that. Then app notifications, you can either choose all of the social media notifications to come through, or you can choose the ones that you personally prefer. And if there is something missing from this list, you can always turn the others right at the bottom, and usually that will allow for all the messages to come through from every single app on your phone. However, that purely depends on the phone that you use. So for instance, for older models it might not work, and it also depends on whether you use Android or iOS system. Then you got your heart rate monitoring. So this is where you can tailor the heart rate sensor activity. So for instance, you can choose between different times when it's going to start and when it's going to end, how frequently you want your heart rate information to be taken. You also got your ECG detection, you got your frequent contacts. So this is where you can sync your contacts from your phone to the watch. You can add as much as 20 contacts, and then if you click more, this is where you can see things like do not disturb mode. So you can set that. So for instance, your watch will not vibrate or make any sounds from a particular time until the particular time. You can also set your alarms. You can set as many alarms as you wish. You've got also reminders, things like a reminder to drink some water, reminder to stand up and obviously have a little walk around. You've got your firmware update. Mine has been updated since I first connected. Yeah, let's go back to our review for a conclusion. Right guys, so now that you've seen the app, you've heard the way the microphone sound on this watch, what I'd like to do is I'll summarize today's video in my own words. The watch itself, for the price, are very good. I think they do a lot for $24 US. The actual look of the watch is good. It looks very nicely made. It looks very premium. Definitely for $24 US, you can't go wrong with it. I think this is a very, very good watch. I will recommend it. I will leave the link down below. I am not sponsored in any way, so the only reason why I leave a link down below is so that you can actually go and purchase yourself the watch and you can have exactly the same experience as I had. So worry-free, trouble-free, you can open the box and you can use the watch straight away and you will have exactly the same experience, because many of my subscribers write to me saying that the watch doesn't work the way I've showed it, or maybe there isn't enough watch faces in the app. And so what I've been trying to explain to each and every one of you who purchased it from different sellers is that what happens in China, you can have DT94, you can have a copy from DT94, and then you can have a copy of DT94. And sure enough, yes, the price will creep down. So instead of paying $24 US, you'd probably end up paying 14, maybe even less. But the thing is, what usually happens is the app will be crippled, so you're not going to find all the watch faces there, or perhaps maybe there will be no Bluetooth module, or maybe there will be a much worse processor in the watch itself. Yes, sure enough, they will look pretty much similar on the outside, but what goes on the inside of the watch differs a lot. So I spend a lot of time researching AliExpress and researching all the different sellers, and I pretty much order all of my watch from one or two sellers who I trust a lot, because if anything goes wrong, they will send you another product as a replacement immediately, or they will just refund you if you've got any real issues with your watch as well. So, and they do care about the quality, and they do care about their customers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot to all of you who subscribe to my channel. We are near the limit of 1,000 subscribers, so therefore the channel is growing really well. It's been 6 months so far, so thank you very much to all of you who subscribe, and thank you very much to all of you who support this channel. I really appreciate that. If I missed anything, don't hesitate, comment down below and I'll answer any of the questions that you might have. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.